Jason from Memphis, 43-year-old single white male. And this is a little nerdy rant about Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. The movies, that is. Short one. Just a little nitpicking. Didn't really have any problems with the way the movies turned out. At least the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'd been waiting many years for a better adaptation of the books than the animated movies that came out in the 70s. And what I saw the first time I went to the original Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring in the theaters blew me away, because while there were changes from the books, all the changes were positive changes, storytelling changes that made things smoother, and helped the pacing along. And that continued all the way through the series. Looking back on the production videos, and once the DVDs came out, and devouring all the backstories and production supplements and whatnot for those, all the DVD monster extras that came out with the extended editions, commentaries, and everything, I realized there were many missteps that happened along the way that by sheer happenstance were corrected at the last minute, and thankfully were corrected, and ended up making for better movies than we could have seen if they hadn't been corrected. And the hissy fits that could have gone on from the true fans of Tolkien would have been monumentally light years stronger than they were. Now here's where my nerd comes out, my true geek, as far as Lord of the Rings comes out. As a former D&D player and true fantasy buff, from Pulp Fiction fantasy all the way through heavy fantasy, D&D based book fantasy, whatnot, all the way through Warhammer fantasy. I've read many and seen many different adaptations, and there's a Stephen Lynch song. I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Lynch, the comedian, where he basically skewers D&D players, and he mentions something that I didn't think anybody that hadn't actually played D&D would know about. So apparently he has been either friends with or involved with D&D players on a regular basis. The Zeppelin thing in connection with fantasy buffs, fantasy fans, and Led Zeppelin were admitted big fans of the books. Before it was cool to be big fans of the books, they were all big fans of the books, and several of their songs outright mention parts of the books, or characters from the books, parts of the books, scenes from the books, whatnot. And I always thought that someone should make a video or a trailer, or at least put it on the DVD as an extra for the hardcore old time fantasy fans, something involving an adapted song of Led Zeppelin's, or even just trailer featuring Led Zeppelin music dealing with the fantasy elements of Lord of the Rings that were featured in Led Zeppelin. I thought it would make for a good trailer myself. And seeing as how there are 2 more movies with The Hobbit, I know PJ doesn't watch the internet much. He's busy. But there are PR people that monitor the internet. Join the movement, people. Led Zeppelin would not charge that much for them to use either their music or an adapted version of their music in either a trailer or scene of the movies themselves. That's where I stand. Let your geek flag fly, people. And if you're not planning on being good, at least be good at what you're being bad doing.